All right, what's good? Welcome in. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now right here on Chat Sports. Chase Senior coming at you from Super Bowl Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. Big game coming up on Sunday between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. And we have an absolutely loaded show coming your way on the program today. Going to touch on some important Eagles injury news. We'll also take a look at the Chiefs injury report and update on Patrick Mahomes. I did ask a question to Nick Sirianni during the Eagles media availability about how this team has been able to stay healthy. And on the tail end of the show, a 5-minute interview with Isaac Seumalo, the right guard for Philadelphia. But I do want to begin with this question. I'm here at Super Bowl 57 Radio Row talking to all types of players, media members, and celebrities, and the consensus seems to be that the Eagles do have a good shot of winning this football game in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday. So I want to hear from our loyal subscribers down in the comment section your level of confidence in the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and bringing their second Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 100, 100 supremely confident, 1 not at all. Voice your opinions down below in the comment section. As for the Wednesday injury report for Philadelphia, it looks as though the Eagles could have all 22 starters available for Sunday's game against Kansas City. Extremely rare that a team this deep into the season is this healthy. And of course, I did ask Nick Sirianni about that. Lane Johnson, limited participant in practice today because of that groin injury, also needed some rest. Cam Jurgens, limited participant because of a hip injury. Avonte Maddox last week was in a boot. Limited participation for him because of that toe injury that he suffered on Christmas Eve against the Dallas Cowboys. Landon Dickerson going to be a full go. Hyperextended elbow against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game because of that injury. Missed the final 13 offensive snaps against the Niners, but one of the better left guards in the sport is going to be going up against that very good Chiefs defensive line, and Robert Quinn, full participant because of that foot injury. And at this point in the season, here we are in mid-February. The Eagles are right now 14-3, heading into Super Bowl 57, and all 22 starters are expected to play in this game. And for an organization that has run into a lot of injury concerns prior to the Nick Sirianni regime, you remember going back to the Doug Peterson days, tail end for Chip Kelly, at points for Andy Reid, this medical staff certainly came under fire because players were either rushed out onto the field soon after injuries, or a lot of these guys were just dropping to the field because of these injury issues that plagued this franchise, particularly during that Doug Peterson regime. And this is something that is obviously to the huge advantage of Philadelphia going up against a very good Chiefs team. And because of the prior history with this Eagles organization, and because of the injury concerns that we saw prior to Nick Sirianni's regime, I had to ask him about what goes into keeping this roster healthy, in addition, of course, to some luck. And here's what he had to say during the Eagles media availability today.
Nick, Chase with Chat Sports. This is an organization that prior to your regime had suffered a lot of injury issues for the last several years, and to potentially have 22 starters all healthy for the Super Bowl is extremely rare. Is that a byproduct of the new medical staff and how you guys train and the work that the players have put in?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time obviously thinking about the players' health and what we can do to keep them healthy while also getting them ready to play football games. You know, that we have a lot of different people that give me information, right? Our strength coaches, our trainers, our doctors give me information. At the end of the day, I have to do what's best, what I feel is best for the team as far as practice, getting them ready for practice and everything like that. But, you know, I'm not an expert in those things, so I use the experts' advice. And so I got a lot of good people that are giving me information. And there's a little bit of luck to it also, but you know, we work really hard at the nutrition, at the sports science, everything that goes into it to keep the guys healthy because, you know, we have a lot of talented players on our roster, but if they're not available, then, you know, then their talents can't be seen. So, again, like I said, just have a lot of good people that are giving me good information, and our guys really do, you know, and so it starts there, and then our guys do a great job of taking care of their bodies when they do have injuries, rehabbing their bodies, and just being kind of obsessed with that.
Coach,
And for me, obviously, appreciate Nick Sirianni going into depth there, making me look good among all the media members from all around the world during that Eagles media session. But look, this is obviously important for this franchise moving forward. This medical staff was considered to be somewhat questionable prior to Nick Sirianni coming here, and it looks as though going into the future, again, of course, there is some luck involved that they do have that down for this franchise, which is obviously important. At the end of the day, this is why you subscribe. We've been live coming to you from Super Bowl Radio Row all throughout the week, but even when the season is over, this is going to be your off-season hub. Any big rumor that's out there, when a signing happens, we're going to be breaking it down faster and more in-depth than anybody else. And also, on Sunday, we're going to be flying back to our Chat Sports studios, a live Super Bowl watch party. Plan on going live 2 hours before kickoff for our pregame show. We'll play some beer bongs, smash some beers, and of course, when the game is in session, it's going to be on and popping. As for the Chiefs' injury report, it's somewhat slim as compared to earlier this week. Kadarius Toney, the only limited participant for Kansas City on Wednesday. Now, a lot of you probably watching right now asking about Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid saying that, yeah, while he's still not quite 100%, the entire playbook, Patrick Mahomes can handle it, and he is available to basically run any play on this playbook for Andy Reid, which we know with his 14 years in Philadelphia can be very long, arduous, and include a lot of nuance within that KC playbook. And look, with this matchup between Philadelphia and Kansas City, football fans are going to be spoiled by Super Bowl 57 because this is a matchup of the two best teams in the National Football League and two heavyweights. You go back to the 70s and the 80s when there were premier boxers dueling it out inside the ring. It's almost like we get that on the football field come Sunday in Super Bowl 57 because when you look at both of these franchises and both of these squads heading into Sunday, they're both 16-3. Both the number one seed in the NFC as well as the AFC. Both teams in the regular season and in the playoffs have combined to score 543 points. Both squads have 6 All-Pros. And, of course, both teams have a Kelce brother. For Philadelphia, they have the edge because Jason Kelce over Travis Kelce at the end of the day. Coming up next on the show, long, in-depth interview with Isaac Seumalo. Really excited for you all to hear this because when you do talk to some offensive linemen, sometimes they're the smartest people on a football roster and some of the most enjoyable people to talk to because they're down to chop it up and talk some ball. And for the football nerds out there, I think you're really going to enjoy it. First, though, today's show is sponsored by BetUS, our sportsbook partner. Of course, a lot of prop bets for Sunday's game between Philly and KC. But if you do sign up with BetUS by heading to chatsports.com/EaglesBet and use the promo code Eagles125, we can actually send you a free Philadelphia Eagles jersey. So all the steps are on your screen here. Chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Promo code Eagles125. You have to use the link as well as the promo code. If you sign up and deposit $100 or more, you get a 125% deposit bonus back. Simple math, that's $225 to game with. All you have to do is make your first bet, then email us, jersey@chatsports.com, letting us know that you followed all those steps. And once we get a lot of responses, we'll send you a free Eagles jersey. Right now, the ones that we can promise you, Jalen Hurts, near MVP campaign for him, as well as Jason Kelce, the all-time Philadelphia Eagles legend. Follow those steps. Email us, jersey@chatsports.com, to redeem your free jerseys. And you look at the betting odds for this game, Philadelphia remaining as 1-point favorites with the over-under continuing to go up. It started at like 46.5, went up to 47, 48.5. Now it's all the way up to 51. So a lot of money coming in on the over. That's why that number does continue to increase. As for what we're getting into now, what I just previewed, which was coming up on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, interview with the Birds right guard, Isaac Seumalo. Appreciate all of you for watching. Enjoy this interview, and we'll be back tomorrow with more analysis on the Birds, as well as great content and interviews coming your way. This Eagles offensive line, extremely special unit, every member of it, an all-pro, Pro Bowler, Pro Bowl alternate. But it seems as though you guys have such a great connection from hanging out off the field to doing the Christmas album for all those guys. What makes this offensive line room so special with the continuity?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, you have a lot of really good players that can play at a really high level, so that obviously helps. And then you have arguably the best, if not the best, O-line coach, in the league. a guy that since I've been with the Eagles, the standard and the demand for detail has been super high. It's like going into the high stakes poker room. You know what I mean? That's just the expectations, and I think when that expectation is set, and then the older players continually push that and expect that of younger guys, you know, what you get is a recipe for guys to be really successful. And then the biggest thing too is, you know, guys staying healthy, and we've been relatively healthy. We have been healthy this whole year. But you know, it starts with guys preparing and putting themselves in great spots, and then Stout, you know, making sure we're in good spots and listening to us about, you know, our input. But no, it's definitely been a special year.
You talk about Jeff Stoutland. He had some opportunities maybe to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere. It's huge for this organization for him to come back, because that's a part of the pillar of this organization. Can you take us inside that offensive line room and the standard that he expects from you, and what type of coach he is for those of you who might not know as you peel back the onion a little bit?
Yeah, not to peel back the onion too much. You know, the one thing I'd say about Stout is, you know, every day his energy and passion and attention to detail, I think, is unmatched. I've never personally ever seen anybody like it. Like, he just doesn't have any down or off days, and you know, he's coming in hot every time in the room, expecting not only the older guys, but he expects a lot out of the young guys, and he wants guys to embrace their roles too. You know, not only starters, but to guys that are backups. He wants them to be as ready as possible. He is continually coaching, you know, practice squad guys, because he wants them to develop. I mean, not only a great, you know, scheme guy, but in terms of teaching, you know, technique and development of young guys, is, you know, you can tell he cares a lot about each and every person's development, and, you know, making sure he's, you know, on task with that.
This matchup against the Chiefs, really good offensive line for you, very good defensive line led by Chris Jones. When you watch the tape, as you scout against KC, what stands out prior to this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, they're here for a reason. Their defense is very good. D-line's really, really good. Chris Jones is, you know, one of the best in the league, very impressive on film. I think their edges are, I mean, it's going to be good on good, as, you know, as it should be as a Super Bowl. But we definitely, you know, have our hands full, and we're going to have to, you know, play as good as we have all year. But no, I think they're really, really good.
The last two Super Bowls have really been decided by the lack of offensive line strength. Last year, the Bengals gave up the most quarterback sacks in Super Bowl history. The year before that, Patrick Mahomes was pressured the most amount of times in Super Bowl history. So how paramount is it for this offensive line to really establish that momentum early on in this football game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think as an offensive line we need to do any more than what's asked of our job. As soon as you start trying to do more than what you need to do is when mistakes happen, when you do too much, when you're trying to do someone else's job. I mean, it always comes down to, you know, pass set angles and run block angles. Are you working well with your teammates in combination blocks? Do you know the game plan? Do you know the tails of the defense? Like, that's the important stuff. I mean, everything else is, you know, it's just another game. It's the biggest game because it's the next game. So, you know, we're going to go out. We're going to each individual do their job to the best of their ability, and that'll give our team the highest chance to win.
The Eagles have the luxury of having, in my opinion, the best offensive line in football. There are so many other teams who are not at this point because they have weak offensive lines. It's become such a position of importance and an area of focus for teams, given that the rules are catered to the offensive side of the football. And because teams are so starved for offensive line help, that leads me to this question of you becoming a free agent. Have you thought about wanting to come back to Philadelphia, because there's going to be an opportunity for you to, of course, reap the rewards of your development and land a new free agency deal?
I'm locked into Sunday, man. As soon as end of the fourth quarter, overtime, or however long, then, you know, I'll think about all that stuff. But I'm just locked into Sunday.
Would you like to be back considering the players on the offensive line and Jeff Stoutland being the best offensive line coach in the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I love those OL lineman guys, love Stout. But, I'll worry about all that stuff later.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate your time today. Yep.